Absolutely. Commander Das, we have the perfect example of maritime awareness on the surface. The Indian Navy has that capability now to track ships in near real time. But what is underwater domain awareness and what should we be doing about it? Is that our Achilles heel?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I mean, firstly, we must recognize the tropical characteristics. I mean, in the Indian Ocean and even in the larger Indo-Pacific, where the whole strategic community wants to engage today. Uh, I mean, the underwater sonar capabilities degrade by about 60%. So any underwater surveillance has to be done in a very different way, and has to be a lot more effort to mitigate the tropical characteristics. Now, if you look at China, or even let me talk about this MH370, that is a very perfect example to explain, what kind of, capabilities we are talking about. When they had to deploy AUVs for searching MH370 in the southern Indian Ocean, where presumably it was there or whatever, so there it took them 1 year to build the charts of the right resolution to even deploy AUVs. So, as part of the larger underwater domain awareness, you have to build this in a strategic manner so that when the actual tactical requirement comes, you are fully prepared. Now you can see in the Indian Ocean, the Chinese have been sending their research ships and building those underwater capabilities. Now this is a hardcore military requirement we are talking. Even for something like underwater search and recovery, we had an unfortunate incident where aircraft fell into the water or a submarine was lost in the seas. Now, to initiate the underwater search and recovery, you will not be able to do it if you do not have the right kind of underwater domain awareness or the right kind of charts with the resolution for deploying AUVs. So it requires a very different paradigm to build such capabilities. And I mean, to give you the example of USS in Connecticut, which met with an accident, went and hit a seamount in South China Sea. Imagine a nuclear submarine from the US Navy. This is the challenge of the tropical waters. So we have to look at it very differently, and particularly today, when we want to participate in the Indo-Pacific strategic space, these capabilities are extremely important, and it won't come, just by buying some hardware or deploying certain things. It requires a sustained effort of few decades. So that's something we need to really kind of understand.
As you mentioned yourself, that these ships could well be mapping the underwater domains and, as they say, shaping the maritime battlefield of the future. What does India really need to do to address this threat?
I mean, there are two parts to this question. One is the Chinese are building their underwater domain awareness. I mean, they are doing what they have to do in their interest. So that is one part, what the Chinese are doing. So similarly, India also needs to do, I mean, what it has to do. I mean, our underwater domain awareness has to be of a different level. I'm sure, I mean, I'm not a government official anymore, so I will not be able to comment what the government is doing. I'm sure the Indian Navy and the various research organizations under the Government of India and Ministry of Earth Sciences are definitely doing a lot more, which may not be open to public awareness. But at the same time, I mean, as a so-called expert in the underwater domain, I would like to say that this has got many layers and it will require significant effort, and it has to be a whole of nation approach. I mean, capacity and capability building, I don't think we can expect the defense budget to do the heavy lifting for the capacity and capability building. Right. I mean, even the scientific budget will not be enough. Even, our academia has to participate. A lot more people have to be part of this to build the ecosystem. They have to contribute. I mean, we have a lot of talent. I mean, I don't want to name organizations, but, Indian talent is contributing across the world. But probably what is missing is that we have not been given them an institutionalized direction that, this is a priority of the nation, or this is what is important for nation building, and can we come together and do this. So underwater domain awareness has to be prioritized, and I think increasingly now the global community is looking at the underwater domain awareness in a more serious manner. So we have to also participate this in a very, very aggressive manner and be part of it as early as possible.